continuing my discussion of Don Lemon and Vivek Ramaswamy. And here's Don Lemon to Ramaswamy. When you have black skin and you live in this country, then you can disagree with me. What? Don Lemon is implying that only blacks can discuss civil rights. And this, of course, is rank nonsense. The simple truth of it is anyone can discuss civil rights. Now, a black guy can say, well, you haven't lived it like I have. And of course, the answer to that is, well, you haven't lived it either. Did Don Lemon live under slavery? Did he live under segregation? Not at all. So then Don Lemon could come back and say, well, yeah, but my grandfather did and his ancestors did. And so through family lore, I have heard more about it and it's a little more personal for me. And all of that is fair enough, but it still doesn't disqualify other people from participating in the debate. Maybe what Don Lemon means is that I can speak with greater personal emotion about this. Now, what were they arguing about? Vivek Ramaswamy was making a point, and it is a valid point, although a limited point, that in the decades immediately following slavery, when the Democratic Party in the South unleashed a campaign of terror against blacks, the Ku Klux Klan was part of that, and it was suppressing the black vote, it was terrorizing blacks into silence and submission, and you'd have these robed Klansmen and gangsters who'd show up at the cabins and huts of black guys and try to grab them, rob them, lynch them, terrorize them. And what was the only ally at that time that blacks had? Well, Vivek's point is it wasn't the cops, because the cops were very often in league with the bad guys, with the gangsters, or they were indifferent, they just stayed away. The only ally that a black guy had in those circumstances was his trusty rifle. Now, this is a point that black civil rights leaders have made in the past, and Vivek is right about this. But I think what Vivek didn't say, that I wish he had gone on to say, is that, hey, Don, you belong to a party, the Democratic Party, that perpetrated the most heinous crimes against blacks. Who do you think held the vast, vast majority of the slaves in captivity? It was Democrats. Who do you think founded the Ku Klux Klan? It was Democrats. Who do you think conducted those campaigns of terror and lynching? It was Democrats. So at the very least, you should acknowledge if you're claiming that your ancestors were victims, you should also claim that the party you now support was the victimizer. So I texted Vivek after this exchange and I go, hey, Vivek, you need to watch Hillary's America. You need to watch Death of a Nation, because you were right in the points that you made with Lemon, but you could have gone a lot further. You could have dredged up the sordid history of the Democratic Party. Now, again, Don Lemon has a comeback. He could have said, well, the party switched sides, Vivek. And first of all, that's not even true. If you look at the ideology, say, of Abraham Lincoln, his positions in favor of markets, of capitalism, of upward mobility, his nationalism, all of it resonates with what Republicans believe today. Where's the party switch? If the parties had switched, we would believe the opposite things of what Lincoln believed, but in fact, we believe the same things. But even if the parties had somehow mysteriously switched sides, it wouldn't mean that the crimes of the Democrats transfer to the Republicans. It's kind of like saying, you live across the street from me, you had a murder ring in your house and killed 10 people in your basement. Then in some weird transaction, I buy your house and you buy my house. So you move into my house, I move into yours. But it doesn't mean I killed those people. You did. So the fact that we, quote, switch sides doesn't change the historical culpability of who did what to whom. So this is the point I think that Vivek Ramaswamy could have had as a very strong point. And by the way, it's the kind of point that's never heard on CNN. So these kinds of media appearances by Republicans should be seized as an opportunity. Hey, if Chris Licht wants to have me on, I'd be delighted to go on CNN and I would, make mincemeat of these hosts. I think this is the reason they won't have me on. They used to have me on in the old, more balanced CNN days when I'd get on, and I've been on with Don Lemon. I've been on with so many other of the CNN hosts. But since CNN pivoted left, and now they're, drifting slightly back to the center, but they're still very much on the far left. Hey, listen, Don Lemon may be gone, and, Chris Cuomo's gone, Brian Stelter's gone. So CNN has been, you may say, draining the swamp, but it's still full of swamp creatures. I mean, Poppy Harlow is a swamp creature. Jake Tapper, all of them really, almost without exception. They have one or two token Republicans, but these are never Trump types, Rick Santorum types, Republicans who sometimes have some decent things to say, but are sort of unreliable on key issues that Republicans care deeply about. So kudos to Vivek Ramaswamy for going on CNN. Kudos for helping to end Don Lemon's career. That alone is quite an accomplishment.